McDonald to deep left field. Hamilton back at the wall. Off the wall. Welcome to Boston, Darnell McDonald, the Red Sox newest hero.
Driven to deep left center. Way back and gone. First as a Cub for Darnell McDonald.
So imagine if we could focus on the baseball or focus on anything that we're doing. That's a superpower. So this is a superpower that we have. We can develop this skill of being present, being in the moment.
High drive, deep left. He's got another deep, far, and very gone. Darnell McDonald takes him out of the yard, and the Red Sox lead it 1-0.
Darnell.
You're listening to Calm is a Superpower. This is a podcast presented by SVÂ Sport, SVA Sport for short, SVA Sport. Our hope is to be your antidote to anxiety, doubt, and restlessness. We meet you on your journey and support you as you learn how to lean into your mind and find an oasis from the pressures of everyday life. Reflect inwards and find yourself. SVA Sport. Head to the website, SVAsport.com. We are your hosts, Jack and D-Mac, live from Scottsdale, AZ. You moved to Denver, though, a year ago, so we might not get to do this a ton in studio. But I'm glad you're here.
That was an unbelievable intro right there, baby. Thank you. Guy has you got the voice, everything. I was feeling that. I made that intro my calm, my meditation. I was in it, so I appreciate that. Yeah, it's about to get hot, so.
It's really. You said it was 49 degrees in Denver.
49.
And you haven't gone golfing at all this weekend.
No golfing.
No golfing. Hank, do we have that picture of him golfing with, it was like Jay Hay and the guys from like a year ago? I'm like, that is like the fanciest golf course I've ever seen in Scottsdale. You probably just can't pull up there.
Yeah, right. And we had, like, there was no one on there. Like, they shut the golf course down. They shut it down.
You guys?
Yeah. We're like 30 minutes on one hole. We're just going to chill here and just play this hole. Like, it was the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen. Shout out to the Players Alliance doing great things. Michael Bourne, look at that guy. Michael Bourne, guy's a living legend. You talk about someone that got
We talk about speed.
Yeah, speed.
Oh, my God.
Got everything out of their talent. You know what I'm saying? Like, he developed into one of the best leadoff hitters in the game. And obviously speed was one of those things. Guy had a knack for putting the barrel of the bat on a baseball.
You know, we've had a few of those conversations about a few guys who knew what their role was and they didn't try to do too much after that. Like Marco Scutaro knew what his job was as a middle infielder, as a speedy leadoff guy too. And that's what got him that big contract with Boston, because he came up in the clutch, those games in San Francisco towards the end of his career, clutch hitting, timely hitting, won an MVP.
Awareness is one of the greatest skills you can have. He's like, this is what I do. I'm going to be ready when my name's called. I'm going to get really good at catching every ground ball, that routine ground ball. I'm going to make every routine play. I'm going to put the ball in play. And then every now and then I might even go bridge, go deep, especially at Fenway when he got over there to the Red Sox. But I think most importantly, the dude was a hell of a teammate. Guy knew how to make people laugh too.
Oh,
so
my
he's
God.
fun
You had a
to be
ton of
around.
those teammates.
I did. That was the best part of my career, is like my teammates. And not only like were these guys like good players, but these guys were great people.
Oh, yeah.
Learned a lot from I developed a lot of skills from watching big leaguers. I call these are big leagues. These are pros.
I mean, just to think, just in Boston alone, David Ortiz, clubhouse leader, 3-time World Series champion, but like he could get angry if things aren't going his way, or if a call didn't go his way. We've seen some outbursts, right? Dustin Pedroia, the same way, captain of the Boston Red Sox, same way. Kevin Youkilis, everybody knew like what he was capable of when things weren't going his way, right? You know, like how do you stay calm in moments like that? Like, I think the whole purpose, we've been talking about starting this show for the last few weeks, a few months now, about having the knowledge to know that things aren't going to go your way. But like you said, you can't live in the past. You got to keep moving forward. Like how early on, kind of like talk about how you got into that side of things before you started SVA.
Yeah, interesting. You know, those names that you named, unbelievable names. Those are just a couple, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
we got Jason Veritek's the captain.
That's right.
The guy had a C on his jersey, and had a C on his jersey for a reason. Like, you know, the type of captain, like, he reminded me of my dad, because my dad just gave me that look, and I was like, oh shit, I better get my shit together. Like, he didn't have to say anything. That was Veritek. Tim Wakefield. Oh. So yeah, just a lot of Papelbon, just a lot of unbelievable leaders, man, is all in one place. But we talk about the, you know, being present, being in the moment. Boston is kind of where it started to come together for me. When I say come together, man, I was just practicing gratitude every day, right? Intentionally, unintentional, probably unintentional, more unintentional, but I was just happy to be there. I'm like, man, I'd been released, I'd been, all the worst things that already happened to me. So when I was there, man, I'm like, I'm playing with house money. Then, you know, I'm getting in the lineup. I'm like, okay, here we go. I'm playing, I'm starting. And it was really like, I know it sounds cliche, but it was like, man, yeah, it was day to day, one day at a time. And also like the energy, being able to play at Fenway Park, unbelievable. Like, it's like you're playing in your backyard. Fans are right on top of you. I love that there's an expectation. Like, yeah, we want to win. We're supposed to win. I love that, because when I was in high school, like, that's what we did. We expected to win. Won 3 state titles in football and baseball, but for the first time in pro ball, when I was with Boston, I felt that again.
Right. Man. And then that's like, I remember the last time I had you on my show a few months back, I pulled up the video of your daughter interviewing Pedroia and some of the other guys on like one of like their clubhouse pregame shows. So like it was like a cool culture. Everybody was kind, like not only to you, but your family as well.
And it's one of the reasons my daughter wants to go into journalism, right? She got the experience. She really enjoyed it. Yeah, culture is everything. And that's another thing that, you know, being over there is like, you can see that. And there's people that have been there for years, you know, between the clubhouse attendants, the people that work concessions outside of the stadium. Like, it was one big family. It was a family production.
And you did not feel that way about the New York Yankees at all, did you?
F the Yankees. No.
Jeez.
The Yankees is, you know, that's Wall Street, man. That's corporate. That's Saks Fifth Avenue. That's, you know, you come to work, do your work, punch the clock, and you leave. But yeah, I wasn't there long enough to feel that, put it that way. But
brief stint.
If you would have blinked, you would have missed me. I'm not really a Yankees fan.
It was like a very brief stint, but I just happened to catch you that one day at Fenway Park colliding with Curtis Granderson and dropping that ball, getting that E9 like we were talking about.
E9, I didn't even touch it. It wasn't a collision. It was his ball. I didn't hear him calling it. I got over there at the last minute. I jumped out of the way. Ball drops on the ground. No one touched the ball. Next thing I know, I look up, E9. Oh, what? E9? Like, can someone explain this to me? But at the time, man, I was so the game was speeding up on me. I was so overwhelmed at the time. But to this day, I'm like, someone grab a rule book and explain how I got an error on that play.
I'm sure you knew the scorekeeper at Fenway.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I'm pretty sure it's someone from the Yankees was like, yeah, give Darnell. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it from my man Curtis, because Curtis is such a good guy. Ferrari F50, Curtis, great, like, all-American guy. So I'll take the air.
Curtis strikes me as one of those guys that kind of has it all figured out. Every time I see him in an interview, I'm like, wow, such a well-spoken guy, hard-working individual. He's got it all figured out.
Ferrari F50, baby. Like, you got that right. And if you need to know something, you guys, like, go to Curtis. So imagine, like, you got the dynamic of that. You have Curtis Granderson, we got A-Rod, we got Jeter, but like the mix of this collective group is I just laugh. And then you got Curtis, right there in the middle, and he can bring all sides together.
Who was that? Swisher was still there, 2012?
No, I don't think. No, yeah, was he there? No, I don't think.
Andrew Jones was there.
AJ, yeah, AJ was there. He might have been hurt at the time. Man, what is that guy? Like, man, I wish I would have been able to watch him play more. He had the best, to this day, best cleats all time. Like, goated cleats, the Jordans. I think they weren't. He might have had some 11s, but I don't know what they're for. It might have been fours, but whatever they were, most unreal. I'd wear them to church. They're so beautiful.
The thing I loved about Andrew Jones was not only like an insanely talented guy, like 18 straight out of high school, just killing it with the Braves team, with Chipper Jones, John Smoltz, Tom Glavine. Like, those were like their prime years in the 90s.
Yeah.
Every single time he came to the plate, especially I noticed this when I was watching him as a kid in his later years, like with the Yankees, always smiling when he's at the plate. Always.
I was thinking the same.
It was always like a little smirk, and then it like kept going. He's like,
yeah.
I'm like, what the hell is he smiling about?
I think I actually tried to do it a couple times, like go to the plate and smile. Like, that's how good it was. And it's funny that you bring it up that, yeah, man, the guy has ice in his veins. You're 18 years old in the playoffs, and he's smiling. He's doing yoga with his mouth yoga, and smiling is one of the best things you do. And think that he's doing this in the playoffs in a batter's box, unreal.
I mean, it's so cool to see some people like that. Like Nick Swisher, I mentioned too. I think he's one of the more standout, at least personalities that ever played the game of baseball.
For sure.
Like wasn't the greatest player of all time. Great player, contributed big time during that Yankees 2009 run. Was big with the Oakland A's as well. Like, he always had a smile on his face. Always interacting with fans. Always like a clubhouse favorite. I feel like again, like he knew his role too.
I put him up with. Probably Dustin Pedroia as far as like energy, what they bring, and like when I first got it to the Red Sox and you see Pedroia and he's fucking, let's go, let's fucking go, and I was like thinking, I want to see if this lasts till the end of the season. I want to see if this dude keeps it up, right? Like, okay, and yeah, it's every day. Like, that's what he brings every day, 162 plus. We say plus because we're going to the playoffs. We ain't even thinking about 100. We're thinking about plus, and Swisher and those same, man. They're we call it net positive, right? They add to the group. They add the energy, and so that's a great skill to have. You need those type of guys on your team. Culture. You talking about culture?
Yes.
Like, man, like these guys are the heartbeats of these cultures.
So, like, at that level, obviously it's a passion, but it's also your job. Kind of the purpose of this show, what we kind of want to talk about, because you're curious as all hell about it, is what's happening with youth baseball and why the culture isn't quite the same. It's more about individuals making it on their own and getting to that next level than it is about just playing to play the game and enjoy yourself. Because, like, when you played, you got drafted by the Baltimore Orioles in the mid-'90s. You know what it takes to get to the next level. But you said you had fun along the way. You enjoyed the journey. It wasn't all about, like, oh, scouts are watching me today. Like, I got to perform. Like, it's all about me today. Like, it's about the team first. And I feel like a lot of youth baseball programs and tournaments and showcases have kind of lost sight of all of that.
Right, man. Shit. There should be a lawsuit. What's going on in youth sports? Like, it's unbelievable. I just seen these kids, how stressed out they are, the anxiety. And when you're playing this showcase mentality, right? Like, basically, we're teaching and developing kids to have a fixed mindset where it's all about results. I see guys that, like, kids, they team won, and they're still, these kids, I've never seen so many kids leaving games crying, not feeling good. And that's not what sports were designed to do. Like I said, the greatest thing that we can empower these kids with is the ability to self-regulation, and growth mindset. Right? You have this growth mindset. You can do anything. Like, I want to be challenged. I want to do the hard thing because even if I don't do it, I'm still going to get better, right? And that just means not yet. And then when I do it, right, what's that do? Well, you get confidence, right? Self-confidence. And so, you know, watching what's going on now and just think like showcase. There's no compete.
Yeah.
No team. You know, there's no team concept. So I hope I don't know how or you know, if it'll change, right? Like, 'cause now youth sports are $16 billion business, right? Data, showcase, rankings. Right? You're in 5th grade, you're ranked. So who gives a rat's that we're ranked? You're in 5th grade. What do you mean you're ranked?
Like in 10 years, you shouldn't even be ranked as a 15-year-old, right?
You ranked? And then this pitcher only crap? What is a pitcher?
Yeah.
Like what do you mean so 7th grade, the ceiling is set. That's all you are. It's a pitcher. That's all you can do. Why? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Like, be a ball player. Be a ball player. Be a baseball player. That's bigger. The greatest compliment I can give you is you're a ball player. It just means it's not like, oh, you can run fast, you can throw. No, you can play the game. You can do everything. Like, strive to be that.
I mean, you don't even, like, I talk about scouts. You know, scouts are honestly not even needed anymore because all the numbers are there. All they got to do is show up and look at the stats on the iPads. It's like, oh, he seems like a good player. Analytically, let's give him a shot. You don't even see the guy.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, yeah. And, you know, didn't we just talk about culture?
Yeah.
Next Swisher.
Well, the worst part about all of this is those cultures are not only becoming less connected, but you're developing these kids to have the biggest egos at such a young age because their parents are telling them they're great. Their coaches are like, oh, sit down. Like, you don't need to work as hard as the others because people are looking at you, and we need to preserve your energy. We need to preserve your talent. Make sure you're not getting hurt.
Right. Entitlement, man. Yeah, that's an epidemic going around. And just little things, man. It's. I remember back playing pro ball, right? And they had, you know, you seen the white bottom cleats?
Yeah.
Like the white bottoms, you're like, you wanted white bottoms. You were ballers had white bottoms. And I remember going to Nike and I was like, man, how can I like to get some of those cleats with the white bottoms on them? And the guy was like, well, those guys, you got to have 2 All-Star games. You got to go to 2 All-Star games to get those or have like a injury or something, they said, that to get those white bottoms. But that's okay, right? Like, it gives me something to strive for. But now, like, man, you can go on Nike ID or whatever and get some white bottoms. You can get your name on your stuff. You get your number. Back in the day, you had to earn all that. There was levels. You talk about levels? Yeah, there's levels to all those. That's stunning.
Yeah, and I completely agree with the fact that I don't think it's going to change, at least not anytime soon, the way it's going.
Oh, not when, like, yeah, it's like I said, $16 billion business. So I don't see it changing soon, but when these, like I said, what's also, like, we're cultivating these kids are, man, I've never seen so many stressed out kids, right? Stress, anxiety, you know, it's tough to sustain that, right? Playing the game like that at any level, right? And so the best thing that ever happened in 2013 when the Cubs said, you know, we're going to develop a mental skills program. Shit, I wish I had a mental skills program. It would change the trajectory of my career because, yeah, it's all the mindset, the mental game. That's what it is. Like we put so much stock in all this. Like I said, the rankings and all these things. I really, truly believe that I would say 20% is fundamentals. Another 80% is your mindset. Okay, mindset. And like, how can I get in the right mindset? When I am playing well, what is my mindset, right? And then how can I continue to cultivate that mindset, or come to the yard with that mindset, or get in the box with that mindset, to create consistency. And that's what's going to allow you to really execute, is just the mindset, feeling good. It don't matter, like, coming in here to do a podcast or whatever you do, like, you're going to do it better if you feel good doing it.
I mean, set those standards that you know that you need to do for yourself, whether it's like eating a certain amount, going to the gym beforehand, getting those little things out of the way, those little tweaks in your life. That way, when you show up to the ballpark, or you show up to work, you show up at the studio, you're ready to go and you're able to contribute and do your role. And you hope that everybody brings their part to the table too, in order to get to that one essential goal of winning a championship or the division or having a good podcast,
I guess the more you know, hopefully you do better. Like, there's more awareness around it. When I signed in '97, Baltimore Orioles, they're like, don't lift weights. We don't want you to lift weights. It's not good for you. Now every team in pro ball has a strength and conditioning coach. Same thing with the mental side. In 2013, I think we were the first team to develop a program. Now every team has a mental conditioning program. So, that gives me hope. I don't think that's trickled down to the youth part, right? And that's where this SVA Sport's going to come in, right? We know this is what kids need. This is what we all need, and we're going to give it to them in a real, simple way. I love this simplicity. It's all about simplicity.
Mm-hmm. I feel like this next generation of athletes too, and unfortunately, I see the numbers dwindling when it comes to people going out and playing baseball or football or basketball, because everybody just finds their phone or their iPad and they're just staying home. Like when I was a kid, I lived on a cul-de-sac. Everybody was out every day during the summer months playing kickball, playing all these games.
Right.
Morning, afternoon, night, we were outside all the time. My neighborhood now, back home, ton of little kids, nobody's ever outside because they're all on their iPads. They're all on the TV. Nobody exercises anymore. And I feel like it's going down that way for baseball players. Not only are they going to be entitled and the culture's not going to be as strong, but nobody's as driven and motivated because they're just told that they're awesome. So they're either going to be way too high or way too low when things are going great and when things are not going so great. Where like you guys as professionals growing up were taught to be even keel.
Top, but how do we practice that, right? And we just learn through experience, and it's just human nature to we want that quick shot of dopamine, right? That quick that social media gives you, right? Oh, I post something, I get these likes, and you get these quick shots of dopamine, and same thing that's kind of happening in sports, and unfortunately, because of Sports Center and all these networks, all you see is the highlights. All the kids see are the highlights. They don't see the work that goes into creating that one highlight. And so there's no process. I think remember when albums came out back in the day, you go to Best Buy, you come out I think every Tuesday, you ride over to Best Buy, you buy the album, ride back, you gotta unwrap it, put it in. You had the Case Logic. You had all your CDs in your little Case Logic. Thing weighed about 75 pounds. Now you just press a button. Got it. I don't need to go outside. Just got it right here. But ultimately that's not going to work, right? That's not. Again, can't sustain that, right? The beauty's in the journey. The beauty's in the process. I think back to all the bus rides, that's what I remember the most. Playing in Fenway, playing in Yankee Stadium, all that, awesome. But them long-ass bus rides in the minor leagues and all the shit I had to go through to get to those type of moments that people don't see, yeah, man, that's what it's about. And that's what makes all those other things worthwhile.
Especially, I feel like in the minor league years. The way that minor league baseball play, the grit and the grind you had to go through, and still to this day, I know they've made a few different changes going into the 2022 season, which are great, step in the right direction, they're making progress, but for years on end, you're not getting paid well, you're not eating well, you're bunking with 3 or 4 different guys at a time. What was your experience like that? Because that stuff will make or break you.
Absolutely. And so I was a first rounder, right? So I had some money in my pocket. But I remember the first year pro ball, I think the salary, it was 800 a month. 800. I think that's before taxes. And then like, okay, you got a phone bill. Man, I don't even think, not many people even had the cell phones back then. I'm down. I'm getting old. And then you got to sign a short-term lease. You're getting taxed on that, right? Short-term lease, furniture. Basically, I spent like 10 years in the minor leagues. I was paying to play baseball. I wasn't making any money. I was actually paying to play. It's good to see that changing, right? Changing the food. We had to eat.
Yeah.
Just stuff like, man, this is inhumane. Like, these are the things you gotta do to like follow your dream, to hope, like, man, I'm gonna get an opportunity to play in the show, and then you find out, yeah, maybe you get to the show. Then there's even a smaller percentage of guys that make money, get a contract, and can live happily ever after, so to speak. And so we didn't have a blueprint on like transitioning. How do you transition from like this, what you've been doing all your life, and how do you figure out the real world, real life?
No. And that's a very difficult thing to learn, because if you don't make it and you do have to go back into the real world, whether you pursue business opportunities, go different directions, like you're starting SVA Sport and trying to rebrand everything there too. It's like, it's difficult stuff, and you don't get taught that growing up being a ball player, unless you are going out of your way to understand it.
No. And yeah, you're not. And the same mindset that worked for you in baseball or the minor leagues may not be the same mindset that's going to work for you in business or, after. And so, again, that's part, and everything, I feel like everything for me happens for a reason. I didn't think I was going to be doing, when I was playing and someone said, you're going to be doing mental skills, and you're going to be this mental, I probably would have laughed. I never thought. But it's good. I always felt like everything that I went through on that journey is not going to go in vain. I'm going to be able to help other guys, transition. I'm going to help other guys and hopefully expedite their process of fulfilling their dream.
What do you enjoy more, helping those guys that are already at the level or like approaching the level, or like, because you just got your certificate too, you're coaching in Denver too for youth sports as well. Like, what do you enjoy more?
I enjoy the grind, man. That's me. That's in my DNA, man. I know the grind. I like what, the people that I really connect with and that like resonate with me are people that like the underdogs. I always root for the underdog. I was an underdog, so those guys. And sometimes it only takes one person to be like, man, you can do it. You can do this. And you go do it. I mean, that's how my mom was for me, right? When she was alive, I was like, man, I'd have this crazy dream. Like, I want to play in the big leagues. And she'd be like, okay, yeah, go do that. Just sort of like matter of fact, and like, yeah, it's like it's nothing. And I really believe, like, oh, I can do that. Like, okay.
Like, yeah, go manifest.
Right. So I want to be that. That's what I do for other people, man.
Well, I'm very intrigued moving forward to talk to some people that we get on this too, whether it be a coach or a former player, to talk about their opinions and their philosophies on some of this stuff. Because again, I'm very curious as to why the game kind of switched this way. Like, it wasn't kind of like overnight either. Like, it happened throughout the years of like, it became less about a team atmosphere and more about me, especially at the younger level.
Yeah, I mean, I am too. I really, and I kind of, that's kind of like my first question to people and parents are like, why are you doing this? Like, like you're writing out these checks to these coaches and stuff, but we're not holding them accountable to develop your kid. Like, do you see, like, they should be able to say, like, yeah, like, he's working on this, this, and this, right? And you should be able to see that as a parent. And a lot of the things that I hear from parents is like, man, we have to do this. you have to do this, or, you know, and the kid won't be able to go to college, or he won't be able to, like, okay, well, I mean, we didn't do this stuff.
Nope.
Like, anytime that there's the red flag for me is when there's only one way. Like, I don't believe there's one way to do anything. So when someone ever says, man, this is the way, you got to do it like this, I'm immediately like, I'm good on that. Like, I'm out. Because that's not, I don't believe, I'm Bruce Lee, there's not one way, man. You know, when Bruce Lee said, we're going to do this Jeet Kune Do, they wanted him to name his art. And he didn't really want to name his art because he believed once you start relying and believing in this one art, you're going to get beat by some other art. So then he's like, you know, he came with the Jeet Kune Do way, which is the way of no way.
Yes, sir. You want to do it? Go after it and get it, right? First and foremost, surround yourself with people that are going to help you get there too.
Most
Master your
important.
craft.
Yeah, most important. I think these are all the controllable things that get overlooked, right? And when we focus on what we can control, we have less anxiety. When we focus on things that we can't control, that's those things that usually give us the most anxiety. So control the controllable. Like you just mentioned, surrounding yourself with like-minded people. Yeah, do that. Focus on that. And you become more like that. You can start with things like that.
Last question for you before we wrap up. Is calm a superpower?
You tell me, right? Like, I don't care what you're doing. You're going to do it better if you're calm. If you're up there like AJ.
If you're irate, yeah.
So, and you're able to tap into this calm in the middle of chaos. Yeah, it's your superpower. What I don't want to get misunderstood is it's not about being calm all the time. It's not about being in peace and calm all the time. Like I said, there's not one way to do anything. Find out what works for you. But what I will tell you is when it is chaos, and there's going to be some type of chaos in your life or in sports or whenever, like shit's going to hit the fan, what resource do you have to go to when shit hits the fan? And that's all that matters, because it's not what happens to us, it's how we respond to it. And now that you said that, you know, the AJ in the batter's box, and it reminded me of that. Now
We got to get him on the show to talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm so curious.
Yes.
Did you know you were smiling every single time
right.
on television? I don't even think he knew it.
Right, that's what I want to know. That's the same thing. Like, were you doing this on purpose, or were you just like in the moment having so much fun? And that's what it is. When you see someone smile, they are in control of their emotions. They're in control of themselves, right? And so that's what I see from that. And obviously he did a great job and went on to play however many years and be really good at that. But there's something to be said for that, right? And I would love to challenge these kids, the youth, the younger, see if you can smile in the box. See if you can smile in the box. And I guarantee if you focus on smiling, you're not going to be focused on where my hands are at. Oh, I'm 0 for 10. Oh, like all these things are going to impede us from really executing and being great. You're not going to be even focused. You're going to forget about those things. All the external stuff that we worry about, you'll stop worrying. You'll stop thinking about that. You'll become present just by simply smiling in the batter's box. And now all the kids I work with, that's what I'm saying. Like, I tell them I want guys to learn how to work easy. Make it look easy. Make it look good. Make it look good. Make it easy. All the people that do stuff really well, they make it look easy. So that's one thing. And now I'm going to add the smiling to that too. Now I like that.
Thank you, Andrew Jones, for inspiring us today. But this is going to be a lot of fun moving forward. Some of the people we're going to get to talk to, some of the conversations we're going to get down into the nitty-gritty of all of this, ladies and gentlemen. And yes, if you were wondering, calm is a superpower. You just explained it. I mean, if you're irate and you're off the walls, like, you're not going to make any rational decisions.
Right.
You know,
not in that fight or flight. No, we want to tap into, like I said, that parasympathetic nervous system, being present, being in the moment, and that comes from cultivating calm.
And if you guys want to learn more, of course, head to the website, SVASport.com. SVÄ Sport, started by this man right here, Darnell McDonald. It is Jack and D-Mac. Calm is a superpower, presented by SVA Sport. Until next time, namaste.
McDonald to deep left field. Hamilton back at the wall. Off the wall! Welcome to Boston, Darnell McDonald, the Red Sox newest hero.
Driven to deep left center. Way back and gone. First as a Cub for Darnell McDonald.
So imagine if we could focus on the baseball or focus on anything that we're doing. That's a superpower. So this is a superpower that we have. We can develop this skill of being present, being in the moment.
High drive, deep left. He's got another deep, far, and very gone. Darnell McDonald takes him out of the yard, and the Red Sox lead it 1-0.